Chairman, ranking members, members of the committee. While you have certainly great sun and weather in Florida and North Carolina, great places to visit, I can top that because I have the Commander-in-Chief from the Veterans of Foreign Wars right next to me here, Richard DeNoyer, so I'd like to welcome him and obviously thank him for his service and thank everybody in this room, especially the folks from Massachusetts, for your sacrifice and service, not only to you, but to your families as well. Mr. DeNoyer served in the U.S. Marine Corps from 1960 to 1982, including a tour in Vietnam, July 66 to July 67, attached to the Ammunition Company Force Logistics Support Group A, 3rd Marine Division. His decorations include the Combat Action Ribbon, Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnam Cross of Gallantry with Palm, and Drill Instructor Ribbon. During his career, he received a bachelor's degree from Bridgewater State College in Bridgewater, Mass. He joined the VFW in 1981, post 1012 in Medford, Mass., where he maintains his life membership. He served in elected and appointed positions at the post, district, and department, state levels, culminating with his election as department commander in 2000 and 2001. He also served on numerous national committees and as chairman of the Eastern States Conference. After his military retirement, he served as National Service Officer for the American Veterans of World War II organization. In 1988, he began working for Paralyzed Veterans of America as National Service Officer, Senior Benefit Advocate, and National Field Director, as well as supervising the Boston office and 9 offices in the Northeast. He is also a member of the American Legion, Disabled American Veterans, Marine Corps Association, Marine Corps Mustang Association, Marine Corps League, U.S. Marine Corps Drill Instructors Association, Military Officers Association of America, and Masons. I just want to say he and I are both deeply concerned about the assault on TRICARE by the administration, and I know we are going to do everything in our power to address that very serious breach, I think, of a contract between fighting men and women and those who are retired and the United States Congress. I want to say that he and his wife Teresa have 2 children and 6 grandchildren. They make their home in Middleton, Massachusetts, so I'd ask that you all give him a nice, warm, decent welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'm going to be joining you. I also am bouncing. We have Secretary Panetta and General Dempsey dealing on Syria and the Armed Services Committee, so I'll be bouncing back and forth. But thank you for the courtesy to allow for the introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Let me give you a coin in case I don't see you again. Thanks an awful lot.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Please allow me to thank Senator Brown from my state of Massachusetts for that kind introduction. Appreciate it very much. Chairman Murray and Miller, ranking members Burr and Filner, members of the Senate and House Veterans Affairs Committees. It is my honor to be here today to represent the more than 2 million men and women of the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States and its auxiliaries. The VFW fully understands that in these tough economic times, difficult choices must be made. But Congress's first mandate is protection of its citizens. It's up to you, as members of the Committees of Veterans Affairs, to ensure that others in the House and Senate do not seek to balance budgets on the backs of veterans and those who continue to serve. It remains unclear if VA will have to give back funds in response to current deficit reduction laws. We thank Chairman Miller and Senator Testa for introducing bills H.R. 3895, S. 2128, which would ensure VA's protection from these cuts. The VFW asks for quick passage of these bills. Even with advanced appropriations for VA health care, budget gimmicks continue to erode the amount appropriated for VA. These gimmicks include $500 million in carryover from 2011, more than $1 billion in self-described operational improvements, the inclusion of a $1 billion contingency fund, an unexplained reduction in non-recurring maintenance funds for VA hospitals. VA uses medical care collection, billing third-party insurance companies for VA-provided care as part of their annual budget, and VA has continually overestimated the amount they collect. VA needs a predictable, no gimmicks budget. A service member's reintegration back into civilian life is full of challenges. Congress must continue to work to reduce the health care, educational, and employment barriers facing veterans. The VFW is concerned that many of today's newest student veterans do not have access to the information they need to make sound academic decisions, making the most of their earned benefits. The VFW believes that if student veterans are armed with accurate information and realistic expectations on academic programs, then student veterans will make responsible educational decisions. The VFW recommends tying Chapter 36 counseling to GI Bill eligibility through an opt-out system. This way, VA will ensure that veterans are informed of their rights to educational counseling at the beginning of the application process, but veterans will still have the option to waive their right to counseling should they deem it unnecessary. The VFW also believes that improved disclosure from GI Bill eligible schools, such as graduation, transfer, dropout, and job placement rates, coupled with centralized recourse methods for veterans who feel they were taken advantage of by a school, are necessary. Unemployment rates continue to be unacceptably high, and veterans of the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan have been hit especially hard. We applaud Congress, particularly Chairman Murray, Miller, and your committees for successfully passing comprehensive, bipartisan veterans employment legislation last session with the Vow to Hire Heroes Act. The VFW believes we must encourage employers to put veterans at the top of their hiring list by better educating corporate America about the skills and professionalism veterans bring to the workplace. VFW urges Congress to commission a national Hire a Vet popular public relations campaign and pull out all the stops in an effort to close the civilian-military communication gap. Through passage of the Vow to Hire Heroes Act, participation in the Military Transition Assistance Program, or TAP, is now mandatory across all branches of the service. The VFW calls on Congress to ensure that the revamped TAP provides veterans with the specific tools they will need to satisfy their unique post-military aspirations, such as attending college, entering the civil service, pursuing a private sector career, or starting a business. More than 30,400 service members have been wounded in action since the current conflicts began a decade ago. This does not take into account those service members who are suffering from traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress disorder, or were exposed to harmful environmental toxins, or the invisible psychological wounds of war that may not manifest themselves in years. VA must aggressively research the effects of these invisible wounds on veterans. Research has made clear that undiagnosed conditions can be far more debilitating than physical injuries, particularly with regard to employability. We are appreciative for the commitment to mental health concerns for our military personnel and our veterans. Addressing mental health concerns early can make a world of difference in the quality of life for veterans and their families. As we seek to provide the best possible care for our newest war veterans, we cannot forget the men and women who served in previous conflicts. Key is access to timely mental health services for all veterans. Unfortunately, we continue to hear stories that VA is not meeting their own mental health appointment access standards. Suicide among military personnel and veterans presents the most serious challenge to VA, the Department of Defense, and the nation. These dangers are especially poignant for the men and women serving in the National Guard and Reserves, who often do not have ready access to military treatment facilities that active duty service members rely on. The The VFW believes that all service members must have a one-on-one evaluation with a mental health professional before deploying, and then again at post-deployment at intervals experts believe best suited to identify both immediate and delayed reactions to the stresses of war and reintegration. The number of women serving in uniform far exceeds any previous conflict, and today they play an extraordinary role in the military, roles that expose them to the risk of combat, serious injury, and death. It is critical that all VA health professionals gain a clear understanding of the personal experiences and sacrifices of women in today's armed forces, and that specialized programs and services be developed to meet their unique post-deployment needs. VA must also research the effects of combat experience on the female veteran population. While VBA has moved ahead with vision and focus, we are concerned that in an effort to process claims quickly, VA is failing to provide veterans a clear explanation of their rating decisions. Congress and the courts have told VA that they must provide veterans an analysis of the evidence used in deciding their claims. Today, VA is implementing a redesigned rating called Simplified Notification Letters. The new ratings identify the evidence and state the decision: grant, denial, effective date, and evaluation. No reasons are given to explain the decision. No evidence is weighed. No discussion of higher possible evaluations is continued in the rating. The justification for this new format is that it allows raters to complete their ratings 30% more quickly, thus allowing greater production. However, the veteran is not served by this process. With 8 to 28% of the decisions wrong, depending on the office making the decisions, veterans have no way of knowing whether the decision in their case is likely to be correct. This revised format has already led to increased appeals. The VFW has opposed the deletion of reasons and basis from rating decisions since this initiative was first floated last summer. We continue to oppose it as contrary to the spirit and the letter of the law. We strongly urge Congress to exercise oversight in this area. The VFW would be pleased to offer testimony should your committees decide to conduct hearings. Over the last 2 years, VBA has made a concerted effort to review, update, and modernize the entire VA schedule for rating disabilities, section by section. VFW is concerned that under the new rating scheme, veterans with identical disabilities may receive different ratings. By law, the rating schedule is to be based on the average impairments of earning capacity. VA is required to determine, as near as possible, the average loss of earnings capacity suffered by individuals with identical disabilities and assign an identical evaluation, which compensates them based on the average loss to each person with that level of disability. Our issue is that VA is amending its rating schedule to rate disabilities based on functional impairment rather than the average loss of earnings capacity. Based on our understanding of this approach, Max Cleland, for example, a Vietnam veteran with 3 amputated limbs, could receive a lower evaluation than another triple amputee simply because he was able to achieve success as the administrator of Veterans Administration and as a United States Senator. The VFW and the veteran community are attempting to work with the VA to ensure that its revisions to the VA SRD are appropriate for veterans. We urge your committees to exercise oversight in this process so that all disabled veterans receive the compensation they earned through their sacrifices for our nation. The VFW continues to remain concerned about the quality of VBA decisions. We will continue to monitor the quality of decisions and work with VBA and your committees to remedy this situation. VA has developed their first ever business-like approach, the Strategic Capital Investment Plan, to address the critical deficiencies in its infrastructure. VA found that 4,808 capital projects needed to be conducted to close all gaps. It was also determined that to close all these gaps, the cost would range between 53 to 65 billion. To close the gaps in access, VA would need to invest between 30 to 35 billion in major and minor construction and leasing. The remaining 20 billion would be needed to close the non-recurring maintenance deficiencies. It is imperative this funding is provided and that these gaps are closed to ensure safe facilities for our veterans, their families, and VA staff. The VFW supports legislation for full concurrent receipt of military retirement pay and VA disability compensation without offset and regardless of the rating percentage. The VFW calls on Congress to repeal the widow's tax. VFW strongly opposes any changes to the TRICARE fee structure. VFW is adamantly opposed to any changes in the military retirement system. The VFW has an unwavering commitment for the nation to obtain the fullest possible accounting for all warriors still missing and unaccounted for. This is the most sacred of missions. We must fully resource and fund the Joint Personnel Accounting Command, Defense Missing Persons Office, and the U.S.-Russian Joint Commission on POW MIAs. Madam and Mr. Chairman, I thank you again for the honor to present the VFW's priorities to you. I would be happy to answer any questions that you or your members of your committees may have. Thank you.